Welcome to the StockMiner.com. I'm your StockMiner Brian Johnson, and we got the move today. Santa came to town, decided to invest in the markets, and the world played along. It was actually green across the board everywhere you looked. I know, isn't that? It's like a Christmas carol. I'm starting one there, it sounds like. And guess what was helping lead the way? Go figure. Financials. They weren't the biggest gainer today, but they did a very nice job of being up over 2%. So there you have it. Said the banks were going to have to come along. They did, and once they did, the markets just rode their backs all day long. Everything was green across the board, even the foreign indices, Shanghai, Nikkei, FTSE over in Europe, you name it, it's up. BSE up huge, 1.5% as well for everybody over there in India. And lots of big moves today, so you can see maybe this is the Christmas pop. I'm going to call it the Christmas pop with caution. How about that? I really feel pretty strongly about the move today, though. Market internals were very strong today. Everything seemed to back up precisely what the markets did in every way. Not only the markets across the oceans, but the markets here as well, followed by internals. It just all made very good sense today. Unfortunately, if you're not a futures player, you missed most of the move. We woke up to about a 10-15 point gap up on the S&P to start the day, about 150 points on the Dow, and from that point on saw a quick run up, and the last 4 hours of the day were straight sideways. There really wasn't hardly anything, if anything, to really discuss after about the last 4 hours of the day. But we got our breaks, the breaks being above 11,200. That was my sign to go long. Told you guys, wait for the breaks. We got it today. Yesterday's break below 11,000 did not pan out. The markets did not follow their moves below these levels, but today they all followed their moves up and over the further overhead levels. So the Dow broke 11.2. There's your entry to go long. Play it right up into this overhead line that hopefully you guys all have drawn in your charts. And that made for a pretty good trade. Even if you didn't get out at the end of the day, you know what? I really don't blame you, to be quite honest. Watch for any moves back below 11,200. If so, we're back in the chop. Just keep that in mind. It is the slap chop area right here. So watch this. We just hung out here all day, only about the last 4 hours of the trading day. So that is still what? Yep, still more bullish than anything. Now I will give the bears, as I always do, one day to get it back down below that 11,200 mark, but big move today, big white candle. Breaking these levels and closing above these levels is a great start for the bulls. So, as I said, like to be more bullish coming into the holiday season. I was very neutral coming into yesterday and even this weekend. But now, I'm going to go right back to that neutral to bullish. I really like what I saw today. Everything just seemed to work very, very well. So if you're looking at short positions, I would tell you to back off of that, especially if we get any kind of confirmation tomorrow. Look for runs up into the 11,300, maybe 11,400-ish area, potentially reaching 11,451. Could do that tomorrow. That is possible. But certainly would want to wait for that confirmation tomorrow to be even more bullish on the markets. Here's the NASDAQ. We got that close below. This was looking more, bearish. Still kind of more neutral, but more bearish when we got this close below. But with that gap up, no problem. Right back into the swing of things, coming right back up and over that 2150 area. Do you guys notice even where it opened? Isn't that convenient? The low today was 2150.64. That 2150 area. Might want to have that place marked on your NDX charts, huh? So holding well at 2150. Once it got above it, boom, here come the bulls along with everything else, and it ran up, pulling back ever so slightly to the 2160 area. Now, of course, we're watching overhead levels at 2180-ish and above. NASDAQ daily, putting in this little... Boy, it's hard to figure out what that could be. Actually, if you just want the most honest interpretation, it still does kind of look like it could be left in a bear flag type of a motion. Yes, I know. I did say bear flag. Those are bearish. But I think once we get up and above this 2180 and ultimately above the 2200 mark, it will leave that formation in the dust, making it a broken formation at that point. NDX weekly still looking very, very good. A couple days left of trading, but things still looking very strong from the bull standpoint as they have been the last few weeks. SPX, look what we did. Broke that blue line. We broke 1200. That was the get long. Okay, that happened at the open, held it for a couple of hours, and then boom, away we went, running up into the 1206, 1208 area where we held very nicely. As long as it stays above this blue line, still looking very, very good from a bull standpoint. Gotta respect the bull move here. Was a very, very good, very, very strong one. Looking at the daily on the SPX, same thing. Back above the 20-day. Remember, 50-20. Those were the things to be watching. We got one close above the 20. Once again, I will give the bears a day to get that thing back below the 20-day, and then we're back into the slap chop area. However, like what I saw today, as I said, internals verifying everything. Remaining above the 200-week moving average are a couple days left. I will reserve judgment on that, but things look very good so far. As for holding that. Now, huge drop once again in the VIX. You want to talk about a volatility index. This in and by itself is a volatility index. This thing moves incredibly rapid, both up and down. We got that close above 2350. Remember that was my mark? I said I'm going to give them a day, see if we'll hold it and get confirmation. Did not get that confirmation. Do you see how important it is to get that confirmation? Tell me you're gleaning a little bit of information from these videos, because that really is an important thing. Confirmation is so important. Did not get it today. So here we are again. Market's moving right back into a not quite so worried about things position. From a weekly, you can see, too, pulling back into this area. Now, ultimately, if you really want to see a more bullish holiday sentiment, you will see the VIX come back to test the upper side of this blue line, which could very well happen over the next few weeks. Let's see if it bleeds itself out. Back below the 50-day moving average, that is really the point to be watching coming into the end of the week on the VIX. Apple was up 1.5%, up $5. Overall, it just didn't look like a huge move, though, did it? Got a pretty decent size move to start the day, as with all the other indices in the gap up. Very nice play for the first few hours, and then pulling back ever so slightly at the end of the day. However, holding on and looking very nice from a daily. You can see still struggling with this 315 to 320 area, which have been some of the areas we've been watching, along with 310 and of course 295, which is way out of reach at this point. So we'll continue to watch the 320 area. If things tend to get more bullish into the holiday season, that's where Apple's going to want to get to, up and above the 320-ish area. Holding very nicely to this little pattern we've been watching. That is a high base on the weekly, and things looking very, very good still for Apple weekly charts. FAS 60 minutes saw the little gap up today, stutter, 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 then the move to the upside. So yeah, a little bit of opportunity to play these to the long side. We did get up and over the levels I talked about, and that was above 22. Got above that 22. What was the low? Oh, 2207. As I've said before, if you can't beat a support or resistance area, just gap. Yeah, just gap above or below it. How easy is that? Made it pretty simple on FAS today, as we saw the gap up and above 22. It held, and away we go. So not a bad place to be looking for your entry right at the beginning of the day if you're an FAS, FAZ player. Same thing with FAZ. We did have the march downwards, mentioned right below here for your short. It was above 13 and below 12. We did get that push below 12, only 15 cents, so not a huge move if you took that trade. But more importantly, we are back below that blue line, above the 20, but once we break that 20, there's another entry for you on the short side of things. I really do like that entry too. That's right down around 1170-ish or so on FAZ to the short side. Back to the long side for me is still above $13. All right, hope you've been hanging with me, guys. We've had some pretty good opportunities, some pretty good calls here. Had one today with the break over 11,200, which I've been preaching about for a week and a half, 2 weeks now. Finally got the break. Yes, I know it's cumbersome. Sometimes it's a little frustrating. But when you have these things marked and you're patient, it pays off. And this could pay off in a very big way. So if you're long, set your stops accordingly. Let's just see if this thing will run and how far this thing will run, and see if we can't get this to follow through all the way through Christmas and into possibly the new year. See you tomorrow. Bye.